Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 12, Chapter 51, Diamonds in the Dust, Part 2 of 2. Make the mind concentrate on the Brahman. The question may be raised, the good and the bad are so obvious, how can we deny them or ignore them? They are obvious only so long as the individual is not fully established in the truth that Vasudeva Sarvamidam, God is all. Until that moment, the body dominates thought, desire haunts the mind, ego rules the intellect, so dualities lord over man. When, like the boy Prahlada, one is sunk and saturated in God consciousness, there can be no feeling of gain or loss, pleasure or pain. He is immersed in the world and is unconcerned about its meaning, which is manifested in all its variety in the objective world. The one word may seem to have many meanings, but this is the result of ignorance. It is the word Parashakti, Supreme Power, that gives value and validity to each of these meanings. Another idea called Ekagrata, one-pointedness, too, can now be elucidated. Sadhakas, spiritual aspirants, often bewail that they do not earn one-pointedness. They mean by that term that they are not able to concentrate their attention long on a flame, light, picture, or idol. The eye concentrates on something seen, the nose on some fragrance, the ear on some melody, but the mind concentrates on the One, the Ekam, the Brahman, which is described as Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam, the One, the Eternal, the Pure, the Unmoving, the All-Knowing Witness of all. Ekagrata, therefore, denotes the concentration of the inner vision on Brahman, Omni-Self. The intellect, the ego, the senses, these should subserve this great purpose and help in attaining the ideal. They should be vigilant that they do not divert the vision or deviate it from the Brahman. Nature is beauty and truth, but man sees it as ugly and false. However, it has to be admitted that such sadhana is now very rare. Very few fix their inner vision on the universal and the eternal, nor do they listen to its majesty and mystery. The tragedy which has fallen upon mankind is just this: the mind of man has strayed away from its moorings and is being tossed about on the waves of doubt and diversity. Brahman is one, unchanging, everlasting. A mind filled with the yearning for Brahman will see the One in all. It will remain unaffected by the smiles and sneers of fortune. But man's mind has been tempted into strange paths that can lead him only to fear and frustration. Man condemns the world and calls it a seat of wickedness and war. The fault lies not in the world, but in himself. He has war in him, and so he sees war. He is inherently wicked, and so he observes wickedness all around him. A brilliant lamp cannot remove the darkness which a blind man has always around him. For those who have the eyes to see the light around them, it is brilliant. The darkness that the blind man perceives is within him, not outside. So too, a person who is at peace with himself will see peace all around him. Nature is beauty, truth, and peace. Man sees it as ugly, false, and violent. That is all. It is strange, but true immortality lies enshrined in the mortal. There are diamonds in dirt and dust. Wisdom resides in this body made of flesh and muscle, and the Atma, spirit, illumines the tabernacle of the Jiva, individual being. Yet man does not look within himself. He is poor, even though treasures are buried beneath his feet. He is the heir to inexhaustible bliss, but he chases after fleeting false pleasures. He gets as reward only distress, disappointment, and defeat. He spends all his allotted years in this wasteful adventure, and even at the last moment of his life, he is beset with sorrow and fear. He has no peace when he leaves his body, for he has lost the chance of winning peace through its instrumentality. The will to live in man is very strong. There was a woodcutter once, going daily into the forest and collecting a bundle of fuel which he sold in the village nearby for a pittance. This was just enough to keep his wife and children alive. One morning, while he was stepping out of his hut, the wife reminded him that it was Yugadi, the Telugu New Year festival, the next day. She pleaded with him to collect a heavier bundle of fuel that day, so that they could get a few more paisa to give the children a morsel of sweet rice each. The man agreed and walked on. He succeeded in gathering an extra huge bundle, but with that heavy load on his head, he was soon exhausted. He had to deposit it on the ground before he could approach the village. This set him thinking of his plight. He had lost all his old zest for living. He called upon the angel of death to relieve him. He cried, "O death, have you no mercy towards me? Why have you forgotten me so long? How I wish I could die and escape from this daily grind." The angel of death took pity on him and appeared before him to fulfill his wish. But the woodcutter suddenly receded. He cleverly changed the purpose of his appeal to the angel. He had no wish to die, though in his despair he had called for her help. He said, No, I had no one here to lift this bundle onto my head, so I called on you to come to my aid. That was the only reason behind my prayer. Please help me lift this burden and place it on my head. I have to reach the village soon. Since man is innately immortal, he recedes from the grasp of death. The will to live is very strong, much more persistent than the will to die. The shadow of man is neither true nor false. It is like the story of the sun and darkness, this question of meeting death or vanquishing death. One day the sun god was very much impressed by the 1008 names with which a devotee offered him worship. He listened to the names as he uttered them in steadfast faith. He was particularly alerted when he heard him called as Andhakara Dveshi, he who is looked upon as the enemy of darkness. He could not tolerate the existence of an enemy alive, so he called for a war unto death for this demon called darkness. He went into all the places where darkness hid himself. But no sooner did he spot him, the demon disappeared, so that he could never come into grips with him. Finally, he concluded that darkness was non-existent and was only a creation of the imagination of his devotees. Before the splendor of immortality, the darkness of mortality too would flee in a haste. The resident in the body has no birth and therefore no death, but man is hugging the falsehood that he is the body, and so is subject to death and birth. A silver cup can be reshaped by the smith into a plate, or later into a pawn box. But though the name, the form, and the function might change, the silver is there in all three, unchanged in substance, in spite of the births into plate and box, and the deaths as cup and plate. When a man stands on the bank of a sheet of water, his shadow appears in the water. People say it is he, but Vedanta, Vedic philosophy, says he is not it. When the shadow is beaten with a stick, he is not hurt, so it is not he. But when someone says it is misshapen, ugly, etc., he gets angry. So he is it. The shadow is both he and not he. It is neither true nor false. It is real, unreal. It is mithya, only mythical. The eye is distinct from the objects it sees. The eye is an instrument used by the individual eye, which is a ray of the splendor of the Atma, soul. The senses are mirrors, and when the light of that ray falls on them, things and objects are reflected therein. The Atma shines, and all the inner organs of perception awaken to their duty of gathering knowledge and revealing bliss. It is their duty to function according to their nature. The result is not to be aimed at. It follows when the duty is done efficiently to the best of one's ability and will. A knife cuts vegetables, but does not eat them. It cuts a fruit, but it is not tempted to taste their sweetness. Let us imagine a cup full of fruit juice. The cup is not aware of the sweetness of the juice. A straw is used to sip the juice. The juice fills the entire length of the straw, but yet the straw is a stranger to the taste. The tongue has the juice on it, but it has no knowledge of its calorific value or its components. It can only pronounce judgment on its taste, but for other purposes it sends the juice into the stomach. The stomach discriminates and distributes the essentials of the juice to every part of the body, every nerve and cell, and contributes to their efficiency and strength. The cup is the body of man. It has the divinely sweet Atma principle. The sense organs are the straws. Intellect is the tongue. The ego principle is the stomach. It converts the sweetness into spirit and confers bliss, peace, and light. End of Part 2 of 2. Prashanti Nilayam, October 25th, 1974.